Yes, good morning, ma'am. So in the last class, what we have discussed, we have introduced it to the Python, and we have discussed about conditional statements. What is the use of conditional statement? Conditional statement. When we have to use conditional statement, like suppose in general we will be having a program like this, and we will be executing first statement, then second statement, third statement, like this we will be having, let us say, 9 statements we have, one after the another. If you execute, that is sequential execution. Okay, you will not skip any statements in the middle. But if you wanted to execute certain statements, whenever some condition has satisfied, okay, if one condition is true, then only we have to execute, otherwise we have to skip this statement. If this condition is true, then we have to execute, then we have to skip other statement, then we will make use of what? Conditional statements. Okay, conditional statements. We have seen what are the conditional statements. We have seen just if. Okay, simple if, this we can consider as simple if. Simple if, when we will use simple if? If you wanted to check something, if that is true, like we will be checking one condition. If that is true, then only we will execute this. Okay, otherwise we don't deal. Okay, otherwise case we don't deal, then that is simple if. Understand? It is like if the experience is greater than 5, let us say, if the experience is greater than 5 for an employee, then we will give bonus. Okay, bonus as 5,000. Okay, otherwise we will not consider. Okay, we will not give any bonus. Okay, that we no need to consider. Understand? That is simple if. That means we will be having only if, then condition this one. Okay, we will not be having any else. Yeah. Just a second. Yeah. Next, as we told, if else. If else in the sense, if the condition is true, we will execute this. If condition is false, we will be having some other statements to execute. Okay, that is else. That is if else. Okay, we can, else is optional, that you keep in mind. Okay, always else is optional. Next, for else also we will be having like bonus as 1,000. Got it? Next, we can have several cases, like if the experience is greater than 10, bonus will be 10,000. Okay, if it is not greater than 10, if it is between 5 to 10, how we can impose that condition? If experience is greater than 10, we are giving the bonus as 10,000. If it is from 5 to 10, okay, in between 5 and 10, then we will be giving 5,000. So how we can impose, how we can check that condition? Yeah, greater than 5, less than 10. How we can check that condition? How we can write? Yeah. Okay, if we use here if, then what will happen? When this if condition will be checked? If this is true, then only it will be checked. Understand why? Because this we are including as part of the if statement. Got it? So where we have to use? We have to use else. Okay, let us consider else. Then else. Now we have to check the condition. What is the condition? If under else, if one more time. Okay, here what is the condition to put? Any other? when this condition will be checked, let us say some condition is there, when this condition will be checked, if this one is false, then it will come to else, then it will check this condition. Okay, it is false in the sense it is coming to else. So whenever it is false, it is evident that experience is not greater than 10.
Hello.
Okay, we no need to check
Hello.
greater than 5. So if experience greater than 5, then bonus is 5,000. Okay, next, for this or for this, okay, else okay, 1,000. Now this if condition will be checked, then this will be executed. If it is true, if it is false, then it will come to else. In else, in general, we can have suppose if the experience is greater than 10, then we will give 10,000. Okay, other than that we will give only 5,000. Then what we should do? If experience is greater than 10, then we will give 10,000. For all others we will give 5,000 only. Then we need not check this condition, isn't it? So what else? Bonus equal to 5,000. That's it. Got it? I told you to sit here, right? Did I tell or not? Yeah. So whenever we have else, then we are having the condition again. So this else will come in continuation to this, isn't it? So this else is related to this else is related to this. How we are imposing that? By using the alignment. Got it? Next, same thing you have to write without using else. How you can write? You please write down. That means by using simple if you have to write. Write down that same context. Input will be experience only. Bonus you have to calculate and print. Okay, take the input as the input as the experience and print the bonus. Take the experience as the input, print the bonus. Okay, you can take this example first. Afterwards, you try by using simple if. Only if. Tomorrow I will be taking class. Okay, same time I will take 11:30 to 12:30. Here only I will take. Okay, tomorrow I will take here only. Whoever willing to come, they can come. Otherwise, they can attend online. Okay, it is up to you. Probably I will take for a long time, maybe 1.5 hours at least. Okay, you should not think like only for 1 hour you have to come. Not like that. It will take maybe. Shall we start at 11 o'clock? 11 o'clock is fine. Okay, 11 to 1, something like that I will take. Yeah. Anybody completed that one by using simple if? That's the question. Yeah. What's the question? Question. Okay, sit. What is the question? Okay. Only with simple if you have to write. Okay. What is the input for the program? Experience. What is the output? Bonus will be output. Yeah. By using if else or like this kind of structure, we could able to do easily. By using simple if you have to do. Yeah. What is the question? What is the question? Huh? Without? Okay. What is the original question? What is the input? What is the output? How many of you completed? Finished? You? Huh? Hmm. 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 Can we write like that directly? 5 less than or equal to experience less than or equal to 10. We cannot write directly. Why? Because it includes several conditions, right? 2 conditions at least. Yes or no? 5 less than or equal to experience less than or equal to 10. This is what you are saying, right? But here it includes one condition is experience should be greater than or equal to 5. Another condition is experience should be less than or equal to 10. Okay, these two we could specify separately. Okay, how we can connect those two? By using AND. In the last class we have discussed that recording was not there. That class AND operation C1 C2. C1 C2 will be the 2 conditions. Okay, C1 and C2. If you connect like this, C1 is one condition, C2 is another condition. Outcome will be true whenever both are true. Okay, if any one of these is false, then outcome will be false. Okay, similarly we have seen another connective, that is OR. Whenever C1 or C2 is there, what will be the outcome? If it is true, then either of these two will be true. Okay, either C1 can be true or C2 can be true, or both C1 and C2 can be true, then the outcome will be true. If it is, whenever it is false, then C1 and C2 both will be false. So what is our requirement now? AND or OR? What we have to use? AND. Why? Because the requirement is experience should be greater than or equal to 5 and experience should be less than or equal to 10. So C1 will be C1 will be one condition, that is experience greater than or equal to 5. That is C1. Experience greater than or equal to 5. This is C1. Next, C2 will be experience, yeah, less than or equal to 10. This will be C2. Okay. Now this we have to check. So if this is the condition and this is the condition, then colon. Whenever it comes 5 in between 5 and 10, then bonus equal to 5,000. So bonus equal to 5,000, that we will write. Next, if experience less than 5. So what is the difference here? What you can observe here is, whatever the condition we are writing, that condition is independent of other conditions. Okay, independently we are writing. If we have conditions to be checked, then we will use a simple if. Try to understand the point. If conditions are interrelated, then we can go for if else. Got it? Whenever we have if else, then that we can convert it into simple if as well. But which one is efficient? By using if else only efficient in sometimes. Okay, if we have independent conditions, we cannot write by using if else. That you keep in mind. If we have every condition is independent, okay, then we cannot we cannot write by using if else. If conditions are interrelated, then only we can write by using if else. Got it? Yeah. Complete it. First condition will be first condition will be, yeah, if experience greater than 10, then bonus will be 10,000. Next, again if greater than or equal to 5, right? Yeah. Less than or equal. Experience greater than or less than? Greater than or equal to 5. How we can write greater than or equal to? Greater than, then equal to. Okay. We cannot type this one, right? So greater than or equal to 5 and experience less than or equal to 10. Then colon. Then bonus equal to. Bonus equal to 5,000. Then again if experience is less than 5, then bonus equal to 1,000. Okay, finally we have to print bonus. So print bonus is, okay, bonus is, then you can specify B. Okay, like this. Bonus is B. Before this you can take input. Yeah. Next, here that you check. Okay, next same thing you write by using else if. Okay, what is the functionality of else if? If will be there one condition, let us say C1. If this condition is true, then we will be having statements 1. Okay, statements 1. Next, if condition is false, okay, then we wanted to check another condition. Okay, whenever this C1 is false, then only we wanted to check another condition, then we can make use of else if. Then condition 2. Okay, then we will execute statement 2. Next, else if condition 3. When condition 3 will be checked? When C1 is false, C2 is also false, then only straight away we cannot say whenever C2 is false, C3 will be executed. That is not correct completely. Try to understand the difference. Suppose let us say this experience only. Experience is greater than 15 here. Okay. Next, greater than 10 here. Greater than 5. Okay. Greater than 5. Now I will be asking when condition 3 will be checked. What is the condition 3? Experience is greater than 5 or not. Okay. If you say whenever condition 2 fails, greater than 10, then we cannot guarantee that it has failed. Understand? In some context, this can be like experience can be salary will be less than or equal to, let us say 50k. Experience is greater than 10, but salary is less than 50k. Then we will be executing this. If you consider it is greater than 10, what does it mean? It has, when this this is being checked, whenever C1 is failed, then only it will be executed. It will be checked. Okay. Next, when this will be checked, C1 and C2 both are failed, then only it will be C3 will be checked. Okay, like So here we can have S3. Next, finally we can have else. Okay, this is optional again, else. That means whenever any of these conditions satisfied, then only we have to execute, means we can stop here itself. Understand? Suppose irrespective of not irrespective, it's like suppose all these conditions failed, then we have to execute something. Whenever all conditions fail, then we have to execute something, then we will execute. We will be writing in else. Suppose experience is greater than 15, we will give some bonus. Experience is greater than 10, we will give some bonus. Greater than 5, we will give some bonus. If no experience is there, then also we will give some bonus, means we will write it in else. Got it? Like that we can use if, else if, else if, else. This is called else if ladder. Else if ladder, or in short, ladder if. Okay. Next, now you modify. I will be telling you the context. Then you write the program. Input is experience and the salary. Both will be given as the input. So two inputs, salary and experience, and you have to give updated salary. Okay, updated salary you have to give as output. Okay, how you have to consider is, if the experience is greater than 10, then you increment the salary by 10%. Okay, if the experience is greater than 5, that is 5 to 10. Okay, 5 to 10, sorry, 5 to 10, then you increment the salary by 5%. Next, if the increment is 0 to 5, that means less than 5. Okay, in any case you give 2% increment. Okay, this is one thing. And in addition to the increment, you give bonus here, 10,000 as the bonus, here 5,000 as the bonus, here 2,000 as the bonus. Okay, finally you have to print salary, updated salary. Okay, can you able to do it? Right, do it. Take two inputs, salary and experience, and consider salary and the bonus correspondingly. Frame the question accordingly. Whatever the explanation I have given, from that you write some question in your understandable way. By taking the salary and experience, update the salary as mentioned. First you have to take input. Input is salary. Okay, అది తీసుకోవాలి కదా ఎట్లా? Input of enter salary. Okay, that you have to store in salary variable. Similarly, input of enter experience, that you will be storing in. Then you have to consider this. How many of you completed? Yeah, input is salary. So salary equal to input of enter salary, then experience, input of enter experience. Okay, afterwards we have to check experience greater than 10, then salary we have to update as salary plus 10% salary, means how salary equal to, first of all, salary plus 0.10% we have to give increment, right? So 0.1 into salary, this will be the 10%. Okay, that we have to add to salary, that will be assigned to salary. Okay, next bonus, what is the bonus? Bonus is 10,000. Okay, then salary is equal to salary plus bonus. Okay, next else if experience greater than 5, then salary equal to salary plus 0.05 times salary. Next bonus equal to 5,000 and salary equal to, yeah, next else if or else because less than 5, even if you have 0 also something will be there. Yeah, so salary equal to salary plus 0 to 2% increment. So next bonus equal to 2,000. Next salary equal to next finally what we have to print? Updated salary, right? Updated salary, comma salary. Okay. Any doubts in this? This okay. Yeah. Instead of writing bonus here itself, assigning to bonus and adding, instead of that directly salary equal to salary plus 10,000 we can write. Okay, like that we can reduce. Any other, in any other way can we reduce? Can we reduce in any other way? Like if you observe, in this we are having salary equal to salary plus bonus. In this we are having salary equal to salary plus bonus. Here also same line, isn't it? All these 3 lines are same. Okay, so irrespective of this one, we have to add bonus to the salary. Okay, that bonus can be 10,000 or 5,000 or 2,000. So if we assign bonus here, we are adding that bonus to the salary. Here also assigning, then adding that bonus to the salary. All these 3 lines are same, right? So outside of this if else if ladder, okay, outside of this, if you write this line here, salary equal to salary plus bonus, then we can reduce the number of lines, isn't it? Salary equal to salary plus bonus we can write here, so that we can avoid in all these 3 places. Got it? Yeah. Next, why we are using the next line here? Try to understand why we are writing this thing in the next line, to indicate that it belongs to vertical. Whenever the condition is true, then only these statements needs to be executed. That's what we are indicating, isn't it? Similarly here also, okay. Again, now the question is why we are having colon. Try to understand the point. Here we are using new lines, okay, separate lines, in order to differentiate that this indentation belongs to the if statement. Okay, we are giving indentation and we are saying that all these statements are confined in this particular if statement. Okay, whenever this is true, then only these will be executed. Whenever this is true, then these three will be executed. Like that we are indicating. But now the question is, why we are having semicolon here? Okay, to separate condition and statement. That's what we are separating by line, right? In the next line we are writing. Understand? You try it, right? Thing is, if some condition is there, let us say C1, then colon, and whatever the statements we will be aligning here in the next line, these all will be part of the C1. Okay, whenever C1 is true, then these will be executed. Fine. Let us consider we are having only one line. We are having only one line under this if. Like earlier example. What was the example? If experience is greater than 10, then how many lines we are having? Only one line. Whenever we have only one line, then that you can specify here itself. That you can specify here itself. Then in order to differentiate up to this, it is the condition, and from here these are the statements, we can use colon. Got the point? Next, again question will come. Suppose I wanted to start from here itself. Colon I will be using, and I am having more than one statement. I wanted to start from here itself. Then you can use semicolon to separate one statement from another statement. Suppose if you start from here, there won't be any alignment that we can follow. Got it? If you start from here, next statement will should start from here. Like that we are having alignment, that base is there. But if you start from here, from where we have to start the next statement, where that particular statement will be separated, will be ending, that we will indicate by using semicolon. Okay, like I will give an example. Like if C1, suppose if we have only one statement, statement 1, just like that we can write, and else we can start here, and statement 2, it is valid. Suppose we are having more than one statement. If C1 S1 semicolon, then S2, then semicolon S3. Like this, three statements we are having, S1, S2, S3. Okay, three statements we will be writing. For the last one, we no need to use a semicolon. Okay, next, else we can write next statement. Okay, for else also we can use semicolon if we have more than one. Got it? Why we are having colon? You should have clarity. Okay. Next, whenever we have only one statement, then in order to write that, we can write it in single line. Okay. After the condition, just colon we will use, then we can specify that statement. If we have more than one, then also we can write it in the same line, but we have to separate with semicolon. Got it? In general, this practice is good. Okay, this is generalized one. This will be applicable for any number of lines, one line or two lines or five lines. Okay, so please note down these points. Whenever I say, you can think that this is simple point, but you cannot recall all the points whenever you require. Okay. Even this these examples, if you note down, that is also fine. This is C1, C2, those are like this, C1, not C1. Understand? S1, S2 also, S1 like this, not this one. Why? Because we cannot type this one, right? And earlier we have discussed about the program to print given three numbers in ascending order. Their input is ABC, output will be minimum to maximum. So minimum to maximum. Okay, this is what we have. But in general, we will be saying this as the first minimum, this is second minimum, this is maximum. Okay, but second minimum in the sense we will be taking like this, right? Second minimum, this can be the name, but this is not allowed. Why? Because whatever the names that we are using, those names we are using to identify something. Try to understand. Names are names we are using to identify something. Okay, here minimum is used to identify some value. Minimum 2 is used to identify some value. Maximum is used to identify some value. Okay, these all are identifiers. Try to understand. Next, similarly, we have seen SQRT. What is this? SQRT? Function. Okay, parenthesis we have, so it is a function. So square root is a function. So some function is there. Okay, some function is there. That function is used to calculate square root of the given number. So how we can identify this function? By using its name. Got it? Next, some variable is there. Okay, some variable is there. That variable is having value 10. How we can identify this variable? By using its name. Okay, so these all are names, and we can consider these as the identifiers, generalized way. Okay, variable names we can have, constant names we can have, function names we can have as identifiers. Okay, now important point, irrespective of the programming language, almost every programming language will follow this constraint or the condition for identifier, that we should not start identifier name with digit. We should not start with digit. It should start with alphabet. Every identifier name should start with alphabet. Okay, so you may be given with a simple program, addition of two numbers. Okay, there will be like first number, second number, then third number will be the result. So first number equal to, okay, let us consider first number equal to input of second number equal to, then third number equal to first number plus second number, then print third number. Everything will be good, everything seems to be correct, but they will be asking whether this program is correct or not, whether it will execute or not. No. Why? Because these are invalid identifier names. Okay, like that you could say. Although syntactically it is correct, but this is not allowed. That you keep in mind. Okay. Yeah, this one noted. Yeah. Next, as we have seen, print enter some value. Okay, why we are enclosing this one in double quotes? Double quotes, it's a string. Okay, whenever we enclose anything in double quotes, that we will consider as string. Okay, in Python, strings can be represented in three different ways. Strings can be represented in three different ways. In general, double quotes only we will use for string identification. Okay, so this is the first one. Second one is we can use single quotes as well. Okay, we can use single quotes as well. But in general, single quotes we will use for character, but in Python it will we can use for strings as well. Okay, but don't habituate to use single quotes for strings. Okay, please use double quotes only. Got it? Yeah. Next, third one is single quote, double quote, triple quote is there. Triple quote, in the sense 3 times we will be using this. 3 times a single quotes if we use, that is triple quote. Okay, this also can be considered as string only. These are the 3 different ways that are allowed in Python. But in general in C, C++, Java, JavaScript, in most of the programming language, double quotes only string, single quotes for character. For Python, we are having these three. Okay, some flexibility they are what you call including, that's it. Okay, and now the thing is, let us say we are having a variable called s. Okay, a variable called s, and into this s I am assigning welcome. So s will be the string, isn't it? S is the string. Similarly, if you consider s is equal to welcome, then or you consider s1, s2, s3, here 3 quotes, then welcome. Okay, 3 quotes. Now I am printing here, print s1, print s2. What will be printed? Okay, in all these 3 cases, welcome only be printed. Why? Because all will be considered as string only. Okay, and now you consider I wanted to print like this. I wanted to print like this. Then in the output I wanted to get single quotes. After in double quotes we should use single quotes. So s1 we will be assigning as like this, double quotes, then single quote. So whatever the thing enclosed within double quotes, all will be considered as string. So there we will be using single quotes. So single quote will also be considered as one character only. So it is like you consider simple thing, welcome we are having. Then how this will be stored internally is, let us consider this is s. Okay, s will be created as like this. It will be divided into several cells. In each cell one character will be stored. So first w will be stored, e, l, c, o, m, e, like this. In each cell one character will be stored. And how we can identify each cell is by using index. By using index, like what is the fourth character, means we will be having some index. What is the fourth character? C. Like that we could able to identify by using the index. Understand? So the index starts from 0. Index starts from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, what is the length of the string? Length of the string is, length of the string, how many characters we have? 7 characters. So length of the string is 7. Index starts from 0. What will be the maximum index? 6. If the length is 8, what will be the maximum index? If the length is n, what is the maximum index? N minus 1. Okay, 0 to n minus 1 will be the indexes. Got it? Now I wanted to access fourth character. So what is the index that I have to use? 3. So how we have to use is this notation, square brackets we have to use. S is the name of the string. Okay, S is the name of the string. In this fourth character I wanted to have means, fourth character means what is the index? 3. Fourth character means 3 is the index. Eighth character means, sixth character 5. So fourth character 3. So 3 we have to give. S of 3. Square brackets we have to use. Whenever we use the square bracket, that will indicate index. Whatever we enclose within this, that will indicate index. So S of 3 means what it will give? C. Okay. S of 0, W. Next, S of 5, Got it? So square brackets we use to index. Whatever the index we specify, accordingly we will be getting the character. Got it? Next, come back to this one. Double quotes, within that single quote, then welcome. Then what is the length of the string? Length of the string is 9. Okay, first single quote will be stored. Next W, then E, like this 0, 1, 2, 3. We will be having up to 8, because the length is 9, so up to 8 we will be having indexes, 0 to 8. So at last what will be having? Single quote. Okay, here we will be having E like this. Got it? So whenever you print, it will start from here up to this, it will print. Print S1, print S2, like that we can give directly the variable. Suppose if you wanted to print only third character, then S of 2. Okay, third character means S of 2. If you wanted to print only seventh character, S of 6. Got it? And next, there is one interesting indexing which is present in Python. Okay, it is not supported in other languages in general. Okay, till this point, whatever we have discussed, this is allowed in other programming languages as well. C, C++, Java, all these things. But only in Python, we are having one flexibility and interesting thing in indexing here. Like I wanted to start counting from right. Instead of starting from here, I wanted to count from here. Try to understand. I wanted to start counting from here. Then first character from the right I wanted to access. First character from right. Okay, in general, here first character means we will use S of 0. Third character means S of 2. Sixth character means S of 5. Seventh character S of 6. But in the reverse, whenever we wanted to access from the right, okay, then we will be using S of -1. -1 will indicate what? First character from right. Why don't we start from 0? Why don't we start from -0? -0 is invalid, right? Understand, -0 plus 0 will not be there, only 0 will be there. That's why we have to start from 1. Okay, -1. S of -3, what will be the value? Oh, S of -5. Yes, C, no? S of -5 is L. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, like that we can go. So whatever the index that we wanted to access, indexed element that we wanted to access, that we have to enclose in square brackets. Okay, whenever you use positive value, then it will count from left to right. Whenever you use negative value, it will count from right to left. And whenever you count from left to right, it starts from 0. Right side means it will start from 1. How can we enter? Single quotes only 3 times. Typing, right? What? S1 and S3 will be same. Yeah, I will tell you when to use that one. Yeah. See here, these two more or less same. Double quotes, single quotes, if you enclose, then more or less same. But only recommended thing is using double quotes, as we have discussed already. Next, coming to the triple quotes. Whenever we have something like some description, okay, let us consider one para. Para in the sense more than one line we will be having in general. So more than one line. All these characters we wanted to consider as single string. then we will indicate by using three single quotes, okay, triple quotes. Whenever we enclose within double quotes, let us say same thing, you consider 4 lines we have, and if you start from double quotes, then if you press enter here, start doing this, then you close here, then it will give error. Although it is enclosed in double quotes, it will not consider multi-line string. It will not support multi-line string. Whenever you have multi-line string, then you have to use triple quotes. Got it? You have to use triple quotes, means it will not expect any other thing. Even though, what is this symbol? Enter. Okay, enter, that is new line character. Even though if you have, it will consider string has not yet completed. It will consider this also as part of the string only until it receives 3 single quotes, triple quotes. Until it receives triple quotes, it will be considered entire thing as part of the string. If you use double quotes, it will consider within that line only. It will expect within that line only another double quote should come. Single quote if you use, then also within that line only it will be expecting single quote. Before that, if it encounters this enter character, that is new line character, then automatically it will raise an error. Got it? So that's the difference between single quotes, double quotes, and triple quotes. And by using indexes, we could able to access these all characters. Got it? Okay. And for the next class, we will be seeing the execution. Okay, how to execute and all. For that, just you download Python software. Just you type in Google Python download. Python download for Windows or Python download, just like that. Okay, then you will be getting a link. Yeah, you can download here. I think 3.10.0. Okay, that is the latest version that you can download. Some download option will be there, you see. Yeah, download Python. Okay, then it will download, then you double click on it, automatically it will install. Next like that you click it. I will show you here, just 1 second. There exist several versions of Python. Okay, from 2000 onwards, so many versions have been introduced. Okay, currently 3.10.0, that is the version, latest version. There is major transformation from Python 2 to Python 3. Okay, so whenever some major updation happened, then they will be changing this series, first series. Okay, next will be some moderate change. Okay, next will be slight change, like that. That's why we are having that 3 distinctions: Python 1, Python 2, Python 3. So Python 2 to Python 3, there is a drastic transformation. That's why we are having that change. Okay, now you install here, give permissions. Tomorrow at what time we will start? 11 o'clock or 11:30? 11. Okay, we will start at 11 o'clock. If you want, I can start a little early also. 10 o'clock also fine for me. 10 to 12. 10:30 to okay. 10:30 onwards we will start. Okay. Okay, after installation, you can go to this Windows here. You can vertical. You can find these all. Okay, even you can type Python. Here 3.10. This is the one which we have installed. Just you open it. Then you can type here. Suppose a is equal to 5. A is equal to 5 means 5 is assigned to A. I wanted to print A. So print A. Print A. Then just press enter. It will print 5. Got it? Like this, whatever the code that we have discussed so far, that you can practice here. Okay. Further things I will show you in the next class. Any other doubts?
So what is the syllabus, sir?
Syllabus for the test 1.
Yes, sir.
Up to 18th lectures, 18 lectures in a handout. Handout is uploaded in LMS or not? Is handout uploaded in LMS or not? Okay, I will tell you in detail tomorrow. Okay, whatever the topics that we have up to 18, those all will be part of the syllabus. Okay, orally, but if you want specifically, I will tell you in the next class. Yeah, please enter your roll number, online people.